We have fresh new news and details about the DTCC plan for tokenization. This really does have a movie. The DTCC just opened the door to tokenizing real-world assets. We're going to talk about this. I also have more news about the DTCC Ripple and XRP. Guys, you should watch this whole video. A lot of really cool clues. Why is the DTCC so important? What is this? It's the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, and this is how much money they have. $100 trillion worth of goods are being held. Also, stocks have grown by 74.1 trillion since 2020. Money market products grew to 4.1 trillion and exchange-traded funds, ETFs, grew to 11 trillion. In a single year, they handle and clear $3 to $4 quadrillion in settlements. So, to settle these kinds of security deals, the DTCC is an important part of the American system. Watch this movie. This video is new to me. This is brand new. Let us look. This is the asset exchange. You see it on the big screen. I see it here. This is how DTCC assets are converted. On the tabs for BNY, Euroclear, Canton, and Finality could be seen at the top. We could add more and more FIM2P routers as long as the other side has one. That's why it's very simple to switch from one record to another. We are only interested in the DTCC standard ledger, which is an Apple share that was bought on the market. Now we want to move it from off-chain to on-chain. You can see that we could see how much the person had it both on-chain and off-chain before. Now we're going to change 400 standard shares to on-chain shares. Remember that we started with 600 on-chain shares. They are showing us how to move stocks from regular markets to the blockchain, which is exactly what we're talking about. Stocks, bonds, derivatives, real estate loans, and everything else will be tokenized in the future, and they will all be on-chain. You need to figure out how to get it on-chain, which is what you're seeing now. That means we should end up with $1,000 on-chain. As you can see, you now have $1,000 on-chain, but $400 less on the standard ledger. So the total stays the same. These are the only two ways that DTCC can hold the asset. It works the same whether it's in a standard ledger or a digital one. The only difference is that instant settlement works better in a digital ledger. In this conversion flow, the value is going from the DTCC custody account to a control account. After that, the tokens are being given out and received. That is, what the party really has is a digital twin of that DTC position. Now we'll move on to the next example, which is mostly for the client. The client who got the product digitally is now offering to sell it to the next client. Now it's trying to sell 1,000 Apple shares. There's something cool going on here. DVOD's stablecoin is used for payment. This is why we are going to show how a standard asset was turned into a digital asset on the platform. Now you can see that the client put out a notice of interest to buy 1,000 shares at 200 shares each. That client basically wants to buy the asset, so we can move on to the next one. They can see that the product can be bought, shared, or sold. I'm going to click now. Okay. Okay. In a way, this is what the new system from the DTC will look like. Let me give you some extra information if you don't already know it before we move on to some other new knowledge. The DTCC Digital Launchpad is an open environment that focuses on new ideas. Its goal is to speed up the use of digital assets and distributed ledger technology in the financial markets. DLT is a key part of its core technology. The Launchpad is built on a multi-cloud platform that lets different public and private blockchains join to it. Don't forget that we learned a lot about the DTCC patents. Bitcoin, Ethereum, HBAR, XRP, XLM, Tron, Tezos, ThinkFlow, and a few others are all being used by them, which means they will be able to use this method to connect to a lot of different DLT platforms, both public and private. Web3 tools includes basic Web3 tools to provide key blockchain features, such as making tokens, deploying smart contracts, and managing the life cycle of financial assets on the blockchain. It also says Composer X Suite. The platform has DTCC Composer X Suite, which lets you make compliant tokens, automate smart contracts, service assets, handle investors, and connect digital ledgers to traditional finance workflows. Integration and payments. The Launchpad is connecting to large-scale digital payment systems like Finality. This will allow the safe settlement of tokenized collateral and other assets in real time. I was also interested in the DTCC instructions about how to use XRP. DTCC has applied for patents that describe a way to make tokenized liquidity work across all asset types and with digital assets like Stellar and XRP. These papers talk about cross-ledger liquidity, settlement logic that can be programmed, and routing logic. DTCC is tied to more than just XRP and XOM. The reason this is such a big deal is that Hidden Road is now part of the DTCC net system. That's a really big deal. Find out more about this here. There are 2 quadrillion XRPL Hidden Road. Hidden Road has joined the DTCC Government Securities Division netting system. This means that it can now clear and settle trades in U.S. Treasury securities through one of the world's most important financial systems. The company that Ripple just bought has stated in public that it will use the XRP ledger for some of its prime brokerage settlement work. The built-in DEX in XRPL automatically chooses XRP as the bridge asset. This means that any settlement action on the network creates demand for XRP on the chain. Run the chain. The DTCC clears trillions, but the players decide how fast and how flexible they want to be. Hidden Road will use the XRP ledger to move money and collateral more quickly. XRP Deep Dive into instant settlement gives it a clear advantage over standard rails. This is the $235 trillion flow for fixed income and government assets. All the way up to the U.S. Treasury settlement system is that big. And you should know that when they say this, they're telling you, for example, right now our main goal is to bring the $100 trillion worth of assets that DTCC is in charge of onto the chain. A lot of people here might not know what DTCC does or who we are. We keep most of the records for the U.S. stock markets. Everything is going to chain. What do you think will happen next? Right where do you think this is going? Here is some more information. Hidden Road became a member of the DTCC FIC Government Security Section not long ago. Tool that I just showed you. Of course, here is the patent as well. This is one of the designs. The new patent names from DTCC XRPs, HBAR, ETH, Bitcoin, and cryptos for global tokenization. Okay, what we just talked about. Do you remember? Here's the real proof of what they're going to use in this method, in this video. Yes, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hashgraph, Binance, Flow, Tron, Tezos, Cosmos, and Ripple are all real names. I missed Cosmos when I told you that before. There's also a little extra knowledge at the end of this. Just let me show you this. Are you sure that Ripple has the best team in crypto? You need to know that the crypto market is full of risk. People who want to be a part of building the foundation of the world and the United States in the future. This is the reason why so many people are bullish on XRP, HTBAR, and the other assets I just named. Right now, people should pay attention to this. You should learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And the Ripple team is made up of all stars. I believe Ripple would win all of their games if they were like an NBA or Pro League team. Rosie Rios is the 43rd U.S. Treasurer. Donald Donahue was the CEO of the DTCC for a long time. He was in the DTCC for about 16 years, I think. It's interesting that he went to Ripple right after Donald Donahue left to help them figure out what the DTCC might need from Ripple and XRP to